I once had asked me on a podcast, what is the hell you solve? And the hell that I solve is when you ask a man who has a career, likely a family, and an established life, and you ask him, do you know who you're supposed to be? And he glasses over because he realizes he's never asked himself that question. And I've actually seen a tear shed a time or two, and he quietly managed to say, no, that's who I serve.
Welcome to the Spear and Clover podcast, the show where military mindset meets the spirit of the puppy. I'm your host, Jason Skisick, the entrepreneurial evangelist, and each week I bring you the stories of visionaries who see the world as it could be and can't help but take action. If you're enjoying these episodes, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and review. This is the best way to stay in the loop when we drop new content. Chase Tolleson is a man. These days, one of the most valuable things men can do is mentor others to help them carve their path through the increasingly confounding world in which we live. Chase is a Navy veteran, fitness expert, and leader of a tribe of modern men living in a primal tradition. He is working hard to always show up first as the man and leader his tribe needs, and it shows. In this conversation, we will go deep into the foundational elements of how Chase helps men find health, peace, and success. Please welcome my friend, Chase Tolleson. Chase, how you doing, man?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. And Chase, you own Primal Man Pathway?
Yes, sir.
Tell us more about that. Yeah, tell us more about what you do.
Yeah, so it is the culmination of, I did this math earlier, 14 years since I first got my first personal training certificate.
Sure.
A stint in the Navy in there, assistant command fitness leader, assistant because I was lower enlisted and they wouldn't actually give me the title, even though I basically ran the program.
Yeah.
I fell in love with CrossFit before the Navy, fell out of love with the broken leadership and advancement structure while in the Navy, and got out, opened a CrossFit gym. I did that for 7.5 years. There were multiple iterations of how we ran it there, from like, hey, I want to take a team and go to regionals, hard charging 25-year-old, to, okay, let's focus on health and identity. And what the Primal Man Pathway is the culmination of more money than I care to say that I spent on coaching certifications and education, and 14 years in the industry and being involved in working on my own fitness and personal development since I was 12. I started lifting weights when I was 12 years old, taking all that experience and helping guys in 12 weeks align fitness and lifestyle, and also achieve things, words for my clients, like finally knowing what it's like to be a man, shedding weight off their shoulders they didn't know they had. Like metaphysical weight. So yes, like if you want to get 6-pack abs and get ripped and be comfortable in your body, cool. Also, we're going to help you truly love the man in the mirror, not just the body, the man.
First of all, thank you for your service. Love seeing fellow vets on. I'm an Army guy myself, and also an owner of a CrossFit gym. And I think if you're listening at home, this isn't CrossFit gym owner podcast, but you're going to see that a lot of the folks that I've met throughout the years, but I know lots of different entrepreneurs, but a lot of people that I really identify with come out of that world. And I'm curious to hear your take, because what I'll say is a much higher percentage of CrossFit people, or even just like whatever, primal, functional fitness type people, end up expanding their horizons and focusing on sort of this whole life approach. Do you have any thoughts on why that is?
Great question. Something that I have yet to articulate. So this will be off the cuff.
Let's work on it together.
Functional fitness, right? CrossFit branded it. And I personally believe that while they branded it, they stuck to their brand so hard that they left room for growth. And individuals fell in love. I myself, I know others that have walked a similar path, fell in love with CrossFit and like, oh, this is super functional. This is so much more functional than, chest and tries, back and buys, and not focusing on movement quality or work capacity. And we're basically in one movement plane. And even though like we did thrusters and then wall balls and then cleans, we did the same movement pattern over and over again throughout the week. So from that realm, people started expanding their horizons. And I mean, I was involved in CrossFit in 2008 when the CrossFit.com store had shirts that said infidel. So like it was counterculture. So for anybody that got into it while it was still counterculture, even it still kind of is, it's like, okay, cool. Now let's go find the next thing that's counterculture. What else can I push the edge with?
Yeah.
And that's really cool to see individuals that are like, yeah, this is cool. And how can we make it better?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. This is a question that I've asked a few different times to different people on the show, and it's something I've thought about a lot. I think part of it is it's the same reason that people like us love jujitsu. I think there's some element of like the truth where it's like whatever is the best thing is going to kind of win out. And so you've seen, if you've been in, fitness for a long time, you've seen, things evolve. But also it's kind of this everything is everything mentality. Like people that pick this up, it seems to be kind of a lifestyle. It's, well, how do you get your deadlift better? Well, it turns out some of it is breathing and sauna and how you eat, right? And so there's all of these things go together. How are you educating yourself? You get into the habit of like reading books every month, and you're stretching in front of, a YouTube channel every night at home, and you're making sure you're hydrated. And then you start to, oh man, have you heard of this Marcus Aurelius guy? He had some good ideas. And like all of a sudden you're like way down the rabbit hole. And I think that's where, you get this kind of virtuous archetypal, like this is what a virtuous person lives like. And so it just seems like our particular area, whether, and I think it's the same with yoga. It's the same with BJJ. It's the same with a lot of different things, but these things that are kind of, there's an element of like virtue involved in it, as opposed to just physical results. It seems like that lends itself to folks like, I guess, probably like you and I, right?
Yeah, I love that. It's for any of it to move up sooner or later, and we can use the word holistic, which I it gets tossed around a lot these days.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to look at different pillars, to your point about sauna and breath. Like my deadlift got better when I stopped deadlifting as much. Like weird. You give your nervous system a break. I pulled 500 again for the first time in a few years.
How much do you
a couple
weigh?
Months back, 210.
Dang, man. That's nice. Good for you.
Thank you. I got a short torso and long arms. So
me too. Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry. I have a long torso, short legs, long arms.
I got long arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a big ass.
That's from all the deadlifts.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about your journey. Did you always know that you wanted to be in fitness, or was that something that came out of the military? Tell me about your kind of entrepreneurial origin story.
When I was 4 years old, I watched my father work out on a weight bench he had in his bedroom.
Cool.
I would ride my bike around the neighborhood while my dad went for jogs. I would ride next to him. So there was never what's fitness? Oh, this is cool. It was guys, human beings, we lift weights and we stay fit. And that's part of what we do. Mm-hmm. And when I was a kid, we had a Bowflex, we had a weight bench in the basement. I forget which was before and after the other. And Lifetime Fitness, in Illinois, Lifetime.
Sure.
To go upstairs at the Algonquin Lifetime Fitness, you have to be 12 years old to go upstairs and use the free weights. My 12th birthday, I was taking that staircase 2 stairs at a time. Oh. And I still remember, like, one of the personal trainers walked up. She's like, how old are you? I'm like, 12. I said it so assuredly. She's like, okay. She walked away, sitting there on like a pec deck or something. And I kept going with that. 8th grade, I was lifting weights and I was feeling kind of good about the definition I had in my arms. Mm-hmm. And I wear a size 8 cap. I had the biggest cover in boot camp that they could get without special order.
Really?
Yes, I have a big head. So that being said, I went into school with a buzz cut and I was still very skinny. Like when I was a kid, I was skin and bones. Mm-hmm. And one of my buddies said to me, dude, you look like you have cancer, because I wore a tank top, super skinny, buzz cut. And that lit the fire. I was like, I'm going to add some muscle. And it was junior year. I came back from summer break between sophomore and junior year of high school. It's like, oh, what happened to Chase? And then I got in a fight and I decisively won it. And I was like, okay, cool. I leaned into this tough guy who lifts weights identity. Fast forward a few years after high school. I stayed around high school, but I stayed around town after I graduated, smoking a lot of weed, trying community college, trying to sell cars. Finally got a personal trainer certification. Then like, I don't really want to work at Anytime Fitness. CrossFit had yet to really catch. So I started talking to recruiters. Talked to the Air Force first. They wouldn't give me spec warfare, wanted me to go general contract, got out of that. Air Force would not give me spec warfare because of my sight and misdemeanor for paraphernalia.
Okay.
Got arrested when I was 18 with weed in the car. Army would not give me a Ranger contract because of that arrest. The Navy said, hey, you go get your eyes fixed. We can waiver that and get you a contract, go to Buds. Oh, fuck yeah. 21 years old. I've been doing fitness for a while. I'm into CrossFit now because I've been talking to recruiters for the last 18 months. So I sell the car I said I would never sell. And I only sold it because my second cousin, who was working missile defense at the Pentagon, My mom told her cousin, yeah, Chase is thinking about being a SEAL. He goes, they're trained assassins. You don't want your son doing that. And he sent me the book Lone Survivor. I tore through it in 72 hours and put my car up for sale.
Sure.
Paid for
What was
LASIK.
the car?
It was a 1988 Camaro IROC C.
Cool. Go ahead. Cool car.
I was that kid. Leather hair, Camaro. Yeah. Or leather jacket. Not leather hair, leather jacket.
I'll take it, man. I was going to let you go with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I spent the next year running, swimming. I would run to Lifetime, 2 miles driveway to Lifetime, swim, run home, push ups and pull ups in the garage till I was blue in the face, pass my SEAL PST, go up to MAPS, ready to contract in January 26, 2010. Sorry, new instruction was sent out on the 21st. Your waiver is no longer waiverable. Or your misdemeanor is no longer waiverable.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. So we sent my package to my cousin. He handed it to the deputy chief of naval personnel. That admiral said, sorry, don't believe his story. Can't help him. So at this point, I'm fed up. I'm like, not going talking to another branch. Get me out of town as fast as possible. 2010, fast was 2 or 3 months. Okay, cool. You leave in 9 days and you're an engineman.
Wow.
Yeah. So now we're about caught up. I spent 4 years in the Navy. I was in charge of an auxiliary engine room on minesweepers, and I was the fitness guy in the ship. My buddies would come to me. I helped basically ran the fitness program on the ship, as much as a fitness program as a small naval ship has. And then when I got out, I started, I went hard opening the gym, and now we're caught up.
Yeah. And I want to get into a little bit more about the gym and as well as kind of your shift into what you're doing now. But first, fitness, lifestyle, entrepreneur. Put those in order for me in precedent for you.
Man, this is good. Lifestyle, close second, entrepreneur, and then fitness third, because a lot of lifestyle would maintain my health.
Okay. Yeah. The reason I ask is because as I'm hearing your story, I'm hearing about fitness. And that's good. That's great. Just curious, because sometimes it's the other way. Like for me, it's entrepreneur, then fitness. That's why I ask. I find that it's usually one or the other, right? And so that's interesting. So when you were a kid, you were like, for instance, here's a perfect example. When I was a kid, I worked out. I played sports, and kind of fitness was what we would do to make sure that we could play on Friday night or whatever. And so for me, it was like everything that I was ever into, I tried to make into a way to make money. Right. So I was into snowboarding. I worked at Four Seasons. You'd probably know Four Seasons, little snowboard hill. I was into skateboarding. I worked at the little skate shop. I was into, cars. I worked at the car wash. I was, that type of stuff, and have continued that to this day. But definitely what I'm hearing. So we say this podcast tells the stories of renegade entrepreneurs who bet it all on their passion. And to me, that's what I'm hearing right away is you've gone into these structures, whether it's Lifetime Fitness or whether it's the Navy, and you came out the other side saying, I'm going to do it my way. And so that maybe picks us back up with the CrossFit gym. And you guys, by the way, you're close by. We grew up a couple of towns away from each other. You're in Algonquin, Illinois. I was in Naperville. I'm here in the Indiana Dunes now. So at what point did you open the CrossFit gym, and what was that experience like for you guys?
It was August 11th, 2014. We opened our doors.
Cool.
And 2014 was like right on the backside of like the big CrossFit boom.
Sure.
And everybody's still, we still had a couple of years left before they took away regionals. And it's like, well, regionals are half an hour away or 45 minutes away in the city. We're going to get a team together. We're going to go to regionals. And like, oh, I have a business to run and I have $200 left in the bank account after bills are paid. Okay. And like, I'm not a student in the Rockefeller school system sense. I love to learn. I love to read. I love to pick up knowledge. Me in school, not so much. So I came into this with some Navy education, some books I've read, and I'm going to figure it out as I go. And figure it out I did. I paid some tuition in the form of lessons learned via business and business coaching.
Sure.
And I worked 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. for like the first year. And I was, I'm fine. I worked 36-hour days in the engine room. I won't burn out. Dumbass. And my iPhone actually, when I would get in my truck to go home for the night, it would say 8 minutes to work because it thought that I worked at home and lived at work because the time was inverted. Yeah. So for the first couple of years, it was me. Started bringing on coaches in the, trade for membership. They'll coach a couple of days a week. And then I attempted to flip. Well, I did. I flipped it into more of a business. We started doing one-on-one sessions for people before they started and looked at the systems and the procedures more and started building out those manuals and everything. And then we moved and we moved into a bigger space, and it allowed us to do, because I went through the OPEC CCP in 2018. I was like, oh, individual design. I want to take care of people on an individual level. So we had
let me break in just so for people listening at home. OPEC was a guy that won the very first CrossFit Games. His nickname is OPEC. I don't know. I've never been to one of his certs, but I respect him. But what he's talking about is Chase went to a seminar that kind of teaches you sort of a more personalized, more holistic approach to training athletes a little bit more deliberately than, just kind of, licking your finger and seeing which way the wind's blowing each day. And so I just want to make sure we made that clear.
Thank you.
And then also you mentioned regionals. So in CrossFit every single year, at the time there was, the CrossFit Open, which still exists, that would lead to regionals. And so that every gym in the world that's a CrossFit gym would typically participate in the CrossFit Open. And the hope for a long time for a lot of folks was that they would make it to regionals. And then, as I'm sure Chase can tell us, at this point, if you're making it to, the third level, which is the CrossFit Games, you're essentially just a professional athlete in the sport of CrossFit, which is very different than somebody that is, attending a CrossFit gym, a family membership at a CrossFit gym where they're working out with their kids or they're working out with groups. And it certainly there is sort of that divide between, competitive CrossFit and what I would say like CrossFit for well-being and health and longevity. And I think that we've seen that shift. And I think a lot of people have stories like yours, Chase, and mine's the same as well.
Yeah.
Whereas you start a CrossFit gym, I started a CrossFit gym with 3 Army buddies. You start a CrossFit gym to, kick in skulls and whatever else, right? Like you want to, throw down in the garage and whatever else. And at a certain point, you realize that there's far more people looking for wellness and health than there are, looking to, become professional athletes essentially. So there you were, you went to OPEC, you started to make it into a more kind of, sounds like a more well-rounded and individualized approach. How did that turn out for you guys?
So that went really well. We had the individual design floor and then we had our group class still. And the thing about it for me on a personal level is like, even the best group class is not fully serving everybody in that class. And what I had a hard time letting go of as a coach, I as opposed to being a business owner and being like, well, yeah, they want to be here. It's still better than being at like Orange Theory or somewhere else. Yeah, but it could still be better. And I tried to force my values onto my clients.
Yeah.
And we went with the active life model, the hybrid group classes. So everybody, when we came out of the shutdown from the quarantine for COVID, we flipped our model. And we're like, okay, cool. We still have full on individual design. And the front half of our class for everyone now is individual design. And the back half is the group. And we had too big of a space to run that model. And I didn't listen to the people on what they wanted from the jump. And those were the biggest 2 things that I could have communicated it better, got my coaches on board, had them communicate it to the people as opposed to the owner communicating it. And that comes across like, well, yeah, of course you're doing it. It's more money. Yeah. So that model's sustainable, not in the size location we had and not the way that we went with it. And we spent the next 18 months fighting an uphill battle there. And I had coaches that weren't fully aligned with it. So they would say things about it. And finally, after my brother passed, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, 2021, I was, and I had already had a few conversations with him around, dude, I'm burnt out. Like, I don't want to run a 7,000 square foot facility. I enjoy coaching. And at this size, I need a team. And if I want to coach, I'm there till 8 or 9 at night. Like just, I'm done. And he's like, well, it sounds like you have your decision made. After he passed unexpectedly,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. A lot of the tools around language and identity and the Enlifted stuff were massive there. And I'd love to dive into that in a bit.
Yeah,
and when we were putting together stuff for his celebration of life, there were pictures from his 25th birthday party where it was a Sunday and we left early because we had meal prep to do and we had to be ready for the week because I had to coach the 5:30 a.m. class at the gym. There was a video from my aunt's lake house in Michigan up at Torch Lake where him and a couple of our buddies made this like funny themed video one year and I wasn't there because I had a gym to run. And that was the final straw. I was like, oh, we're done. End of December. I gave the members like a week heads up. I was like, it's been an awesome 7+ years. It's time for this chapter to be closed. And my landlord was luckily super accommodating, let me out of my lease 18 months early. And now I get to go full steam on building something that creates massive impact at scale and allows me to, my wife's 13 weeks pregnant today.
Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you. And it allows me to build something that by the time my kid is old enough to recognize it, the only truth they're going to know is that you can create whatever you want in this world.
I've heard that dozens of times since some version of what you just said. And it's exactly how I feel for my daughter. We like I told you on our first call, we have a 9-month-old daughter, Lucy. And this is, if you're an avid listener of the podcast, which I know that there's tens of you out there, you've heard me talk about this before, but that's something that I'm currently thinking a lot about is how to, give my daughter the opportunity to sort of think entrepreneurially and kind of create the vision that she sees for her life and things like that. So it's very interesting to hear that from you. So it's so fascinating to hear, because I've worked with tons and tons of people that have come from like almost the exact same thing. I mean, we both know, how many dozens of people do we both know that probably got out of the military or played some sort of sport that kind of ran its course, found out about CrossFit, fell in love with it. There is actually Doug Larson has like a cycle of that he once talked me through, where it was like, you find out about it, you become aware of this thing, whether it's jujitsu or CrossFit or yoga or whatever. There's a bunch of things. And then you get into it, you become an enthusiast, you level up, you become a teacher, you level up, you become an owner, you level up, you become a coach, or you do it is sort of this cycle of the way that these types of sort of passionate career paths go. What I've found is typically there's two camps. There's the people that just want to coach. They basically want to be self-employed. And then there's the people that want to be sort of entrepreneurs, which is where you build a team and you're no longer the one doing the oil changes. You're running the shop and you're making sure you're ordering in all on time and your billing is all taken care of. And they're just two different personality types. But what your intuition, kind of what you said and what you're talking about is you got to a point where you're like, I don't want to do the 7,000 square foot, big operation thing. And I haven't been able to find a good team that can kind of enact my vision. This is something I hear all the time. And you made a very wise decision, because now what's rent? I don't know, whatever you pay for your house, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're able to make this big impact for, the people that really follow what you're saying. I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
Oh, you're good. I think I was about to cut you off. And Culture Code, great book. They talk about dynamic interruptions, which is a key to good team environments. And that little piece of information, along with the thousands of other random things in Chase's head aside, I still carry some personal training clients. We brought some equipment home, and I have effectively a zero overhead personal training studio in the basement. And now I'm working with guys worldwide and affecting massive change. Like, how many of my true target market resides in Algonquin? A handful. To find them and pull them out of their houses, going to be difficult. Around the world, guys that are unhappy, like wake up with angst around their day, go in the bathroom and are unhappy with the guy they see in the mirror, both body and mind. I can affect a lot more change that way. And it's lifestyle and it's identity. And for me, when you're talking about coach versus entrepreneur, this second go around for me, I had a couple of buddies approach me about partnering and combining services. And I love these guys. And the main reason that I said no was because I'm proving it to myself that I can build something from the jump that is scalable. And will I ever have a team here? Yet to be seen. I will build this correctly. And my main thing for me is that I'm going to build this, and I'm also building passive income on the side. And by the time I'm 33, by the time we're 40, my wife will have the option to retire.
Today's show is brought to you by High Level CRM. High Level is an all-in-one platform designed to help entrepreneurs grow their businesses without the need for multiple softwares or an IT team. Not only does their easy-to-use software allow you to track and manage your leads throughout each phase of the relationship, but it also allows you to build funnels, track stats, and more. Guys, I sat down and added up the cost of software I was able to replace with just one app, and it was over $1,000 per month. Because this is an all-in-one application, I also save a ton of headaches connecting apps and building automations, and the team at Go High Level does a great job of getting you started quickly and easily when you sign on. I cannot more highly recommend these guys. Right now, Spear and Clover listeners get a free 14-day trial of High Level CRM for themselves. Click the link in our show notes to support the show and get started on your free 14-day trial today. I'm super excited that today's show is brought to you by the Global School of Entrepreneurship. Most practicing entrepreneurs cannot take 2 years away from their growing business to attend a full-time, campus-based program or spend every weekend away from family and business for a couple of years. Finally, there's an accredited program specifically designed for you to work on and grow your business while completing your MBA. The GSE MBA complements the needs and schedules of someone actively engaged in an entrepreneurial venture while still covering the accredited curriculum expected from any MBA program. The Global School of Entrepreneurship offers a unique offering called the Mastermind to MBA program. It consists of 10 students who work together in a forum-style cohort and meet every other week for a year. The GSE MBA helps you develop skills in critical thinking and strategic planning. Students also develop competencies in leadership, decision-making, and communication with both employees as well as the important stakeholders in your business. You will be exposed to world-class academics and fascinating guest lecturers. You'll work on your business while working in your business. Students are guided by real-world entrepreneurs with decades of experience starting and scaling businesses just like yours. Best of all, I'm beyond proud to announce that the Global School of Entrepreneurship has agreed to offer one Spear and Clover listener a scholarship to join an upcoming Mastermind to MBA cohort. They are looking for someone just like you to bring a unique perspective to the program, and they are accepting applications right now. To learn more and to apply, simply go to www.gse.mba/spear. That's www.gse.mba/spear. Don't miss this opportunity to level yourself up and surround yourself with other like-minded entrepreneurs just like you. Once again, to apply for the GSE MBA Spear and Clover Scholarship, simply visit www.gse.mba/spear. That's www.gse.mba/spear. Today's show is brought to you by Scaling with Media. I mean, literally, like if it weren't for the folks at Scaling with Media, you would not be getting this. Scaling with Media is a truly revolutionary company for any entrepreneur who wants to reach a larger audience without taking on the years of experience necessary to master the required skills. These guys do it all. From helping you develop your creative plan to editing, sourcing content, copywriting, ads management, and way more. Whether you're looking to launch a YouTube channel or podcast, or you just want to scale your business out to more eyeballs, these guys are the absolute best one-stop shop. But that's not all. Right now, Spear and Clover listeners who sign up for their brand launch package will receive a free professional grade studio kit that I'm actually recording right now on. The studio kit includes a professional microphone, stand, lighting, and headphones, and is worth well over $500. Take action now by going to scalingwithmedia.com/spear and claim your free studio kit. Again, that's scalingwithmedia.com/spear, scalingwithmedia.com/spear. Now back to the show. It's a good goal. It doesn't even sound like a goal. It sounds like it's the future, buddy. I love it.
It's reality.
So what motivates you? Are you motivated by money? Are you motivated by prestige? Are you motivated by client results? The respect of your peers? What are you motivated by? Winning? Alignment? Okay, go.
Yeah, winning the game of life. Sure. I like winning, and alignment.
Yeah,
being able to live my life exactly how I want it and build a family with my kid coming into this world. Be able to be completely present as a parent, fully present as a husband, and also do the things that I want to do when I want to do them. That's motivation to me. So if that means building enough passive income that I can wake up in the morning, work out, sit in my basement, smoke a little weed midday, and then be there for my kid when they get home from school or home from tutoring because they won't be part of the public school system. Yeah, that's it. I'm a bit philosophical in nature. Mm-hmm. And to me, part of what motivates me is living a life that allows me to continue diving into that and figuring out the thing we're put here to figure out, and that most people spend their lives chasing their tails because they're too scared to look at.
I like that. So tell me about who you serve and how you serve them.
I serve men that I once had asked me on a podcast, what is the hell you solve? And the hell that I solve is when you ask a man who has a career, likely a family, and an established life, and you ask him, do you know who you're supposed to be? And he glasses over because he realizes he's never asked himself that question. And I've actually seen a tear shed a time or two. And he quietly managed to say, no, that's who I serve. So those guys that when they see my cover photo on Facebook, I get messages. Hey man, I just saw your cover photo that says you help guys like the man in the mirror. And I realized I haven't thought about that, but I don't like the guy in the mirror. I serve those guys. And I also serve guys like on a deep metaphysical level. That's who I serve. And it's packaged as fitness, guys who want to get their life in check. And it's lifestyle, it's movement, it's workouts, it's nutrition. And the true change, the stuff that has people saying on their first call with me, wow, this is so much more than I thought it would be. They come back on the second call and say, I fired my therapist after our first call, is the identity work. It's reframing the stories that have let their imposter, their evil inner twin, hold them where they're at, because change is scary. Even if it's better, it's scary. The cognitive dissonance is loud and it will try to keep these guys where they are. So even if, I have the house with the white picket fence and the wife and the job and the family and my kids hate me and my wife is probably sleeping with someone and I hate my job, but it's working. I'm checking the boxes. So I don't know if I really want to change it. I help those guys break free.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think this is something that everybody can kind of identify with, whether it's in themselves or in somebody else. But, in CrossFit, we talk about working from core to extremity. I feel, and that means to work from, your body to then finally at the end, your fingertips, right? And I think a lot of times people start with the fingertips, right? They're like, oh, I got to get the car. Oh, I got to get the wife. Oh, I got to get the job. Oh, I got to have the kids. Oh, I got to whatever it is, take the vacation or whatever else it is. And I think at the end of the day, if we just started with the core, which is what's inside of us and where we want to be and what we want to be doing with our lives and getting a real good understanding of who we are and when we feel good and don't eat that, it gives you a fucking heartburn or whatever it is.
Yep.
And then the extremities just grow. I don't know if you had this experience, but when I got out of the Army, I would walk around the city of Chicago. I moved to Chicago. Walk around the city of Chicago looking for eye contact. Like, look me in the face, motherfucker, because I have nothing to hide. I remember getting out and there was just such a simplicity of like, all I did for 4 years was like work with my brothers and sisters that were in my unit. We would work, we would fuck around, we would travel, whatever, but I had no bills. I had not done anybody wrong. I had not, I had done the things I was supposed to do. I had gotten in shape. I kept my face was shaved. My hair was in regs, everything. Right. And I wasn't a great soldier by any means, but I was clean, baby. And I remember getting out of the military being like, let's be friends. Like, and that was just such a good feeling. And I don't feel like everybody, not everyone has ever had that feeling. Did you have any kind of experience like that coming out of the military?
Yeah. So I won't necessarily say that it was out of the military for me. And I resonate with that. Yeah. That it's like, hey man, let's connect and let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's like, do what? Huh? Yeah. Like, and I make conversation with cashiers, with, servers, if they're not swamped, because I did that for a couple of years before the Navy. So I'm not going to waste their time. And, I like get to know people. Ask someone, instead of asking them, how you doing? What's been the highlight of your week? Sure. You want to get someone talking. And, you said something, vacation. And I would like to play a little wordplay on that, because if you're looking forward to vacating your life and then you're dreading coming back to it, you're doing it wrong. Like, hi, my name is Chase. I can help you fix that. True. Wordplay, vacation, vacate, shun, vacation, to vacate that which we shun. And this is some kind of more woo level wordplay.
That's okay.
You could start looking at things like the weekend. Are you weakened by your weekend? And then we wake up in the morning, and we also go to awake to mourn. And there's these little subtleties in these things that if you buy into it, you can start realigning your words or at least being aware of it. The way that we speak about things, does it have that underlying like to it? Somebody sticking a dagger in your diaphragm and twisting it.
It's so interesting. And you've sort of shifted into talking a little bit about identity and story and words, right? And I think, obviously, I'm not sure the order of these will come out, but we had Mark England on the podcast. Mark, of course, is the owner of Enlifted Coaching and Vocabulary, and is very much, you should check out his TEDx talk if you're listening and haven't caught that episode yet, but very much interested in the dissection of language, both internally, as well as in your social and family life, as well as in the workplace. And I think he does a really, really great job of framing sort of the way that those things can add up to, those little molehills can add up into mountains. So maybe talk a little bit about, your work in that stuff and how you help people with that.
I would love to. And I will do my best to keep it separate, because I've heard a lot of what Mark says on podcasts.
Sure.
I'll do my best to keep it my lane, even though they intersect.
And I'm just going to tell you ahead of time, I'm going to interrupt you if there's a point where I want to dig into detail a little bit. So don't,
please,
just so you know ahead of time. Go ahead.
Yeah. And you talked about molehills. One thing I will say, when we're working, for anybody that wants context, it's working stories, and our words shape our reality. Abracadabra comes from the ancient Aramaic for "with my word I create." I have it plastered in a giant back piece across my back because it is real. You change your words, your life gets better. Now, here's the thing. Even if we change our words moving forward, there are stories from our past that are tying us down, and we don't even realize it. They're in the subconscious. And until we start looking at the surface level stuff, we won't realize that time that we got hit by the ball in T-ball when we were 8 years old has us too afraid to take action on things because we think people will laugh at us. So we start surface level. And this is where, guys come in my program, like, I'm not the same soccer player I once was, because, I blew my ankle out a few years ago. And like, I was a collegiate level soccer player. This one of my guys, 40s, 3 kids, killer career, wife that loves him. And this thing has him hung up. And when we can flip and we look at this, and this individual was still identifying as a soccer player. And then in that same session, we got him to look at what he is right now. He's a father, he's a husband, he's a provider for his family. And he was working with me in both aspects, via the identity and as an in-person client at the time. The light that this guy carried into the gym, when we went from, oh man, I can't play soccer like I used to I show up to be there for my kids. And that sounds so surface level as I'm explaining it. Like, yeah, I work out to be there for my kids. When you dig into the past and you realize what stories were anchoring the stuff that kept you from being able to really lean into that, and you clear it out via breath, via writing it down, speaking it out, it's powerful. And I've had people remember whole relationships that they have edited out. Like, oh yeah, wow, he was really abusive to me. This is a female I worked with. He was really abusive to me, and we lived together, and he was horrible. Oh, and like, next thing you know, like this tremor of energy and release, and now she's got more space. And we have these old stories that are taking up space that we've just kind of pushed to the back, because people try to move around their past instead of moving through it. And when you can slow down and move through it instead of moving around it or over it, we're a lot better off. And that's why people, well, I talk about it, so it's good. Yeah, well, the way you talk about it is, yeah, I was in this really bad relationship one time and he was so abusive to me and I just don't know what happened. And you're not processing anything. So we slow it down.
Yeah, we create the short story that we're comfortable telling. And then over time that becomes reality. So maybe the question I have then, Chase, is what has changed in you and about you since you learned these techniques that now you bring to your clients?
Beautiful question. For me personally, one of the biggest stories holding me back was that story about the Navy, that I went and I paid for LASIK and I got in shape and I was ready. I was going to do it. And then it was pulled out from under me. And I threw the biggest pity party. I went out in the garage and broke shit. And when I went and we started level 1, you clear the stock and lift it. Level 2, you celebrate wins. Once I cleared that and cleared that story out, it became one of my wins, because I went from somebody who took like 13 minutes to run a mile to running 2 miles in 13 minutes and 15 seconds with a pack on with all my swim gear in it.
Wow.
Swimming a bunch and then running home at the same pace. And it went from, well, geez, life is just predetermined, whatever, why even try, to if I want to do something, I'm going to fucking do it. And that's power. Like, to be able to take something that used to hold you back and turn and see the power that you had in it. Like, it is freedom. Like the drug that the enlifted method that taking control of your language and your stories provides is freedom. And I was entrepreneurial in illicit sense when I was younger. younger man. And this is the best drug I've pushed.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think, do you find it often that clients or yourself or people that you're aware of trade, speaking of illicit, trade one form of addiction for another? And is that okay?
Most people are using the gym like an alcoholic uses a bottle of tequila. And most coaches are equivalent to drunk bartenders because they're doing the same shit. Mm-hmm. And to get your clients to a place where they can truly express health, you have to first be there. So that was one of the shifts I was able to make. And yes, so many people are running away from stories in their head and stories in their life and things that they could address by fitness, going out and pounding the pavement for 20 miles or 100 miles or whatever, and quieting their mind. That's cool. Like, good for you that you found a better outlet.
Yeah.
Now let's take it a step further and truly clear some space so you can show up for yourself and others on a whole nother level.
So that gets back to the core to extremity idea, right? Like that octopus, right? Like fix the octopus body and the arms will come, right? I think that's pretty smart. And so with that in mind, you have somebody that you start to work with. Oh, you got an octopus tattoo?
Yeah.
Right on, man. That's cool. There's a couple of tattoos that I think are super cool, but I don't think I'm cool enough to get them. And one of them is an octopus. The other is an owl, but whatever. I think they're super cool. I just didn't grow up into owls or octopuses. I just think they look cool. Anyway, so I guess then the question is, as an entrepreneur, as you're building your business, how important is it to you that you sell somebody something that they want versus selling them something you think that they need? And is there a difference, and how important is it to you?
Anybody who's been in business for a while, especially selling a service, sell them what they want and give them what they need, right?
Yeah.
So after, and I did this, man, great question, because I did this coming out of the Unlifted level 1. I was like, this is it. This will unlock everything for everybody. Yeah. I'm just going to sell words now. Hey guys, come work your stories with me. Fucking crickets. You know what happened when I started telling guys that I could get their testosterone to optimal natural levels without having to stick a needle in their butt? Oh, weird. Wait, you mean you can get me shredded and help me pitch a tent every morning? Yeah, I'm here for it. The bulk of that is still clearing stories in their head. So yeah, selling what they want is the ability to actually know what it feels like to be a man, and then giving them what they need comes on the inside. And there is a marked difference between what they need and what will serve them and what the coach enjoys doing and what they need in their life. So they think every client needs that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I have this idea of a three-chambered heart. And it's like, there's your professional life, entrepreneurial or otherwise, there's your kind of family and social life, and then there's yourself. And it's one of those things where I think a lot of times, people either jump around. It's like, I'm going to work on myself, but then they lose out on the other two. I feel like it's kind of a zero-sum game. And the only way to grow any of them is to kind of grow all of them incrementally. Does that make sense? Because I do feel like if you pump a lot of blood to that business side of it, it takes away from the self and it takes away from the family, unless you're still maintaining and growing those other things. And I think the only way to grow it is to grow all three kind of incrementally.
100%. I love that analogy. And one way that I like to look at things like that is it's like a bar graph, so to speak, that one will max out until the other ones come up to meet it. And the other ones will likely surpass for a bit until the other one. And it's this game where one's going to get higher and then another one, and then to your point, you're making each chamber of the heart stronger and stronger. And then the whole thing beats better. And then you can run a 4-minute mile.
So what is the ultimate goal? 5 years from now, Chase gets everything he wants. He's got his tribe of primal men. What is the impact you want to make on the world? And what does that look like?
The impact that I make on the world through Primal Man pathways, that I create leaders. I create guys that create ripples of inspiration and inspire others to take action to create their own freedom. So that's Primal Man pathway. Planting seeds.
Yeah.
The best way to create impact is to create others that will create impact, in my opinion. And 5 years from now, I will entrepreneurially, the Primal Man pathway will be such a machine that it takes up the time that I am willing to give it. And I will be coaching because I thoroughly enjoy it, because real estate and other passive income plays will be absolutely just exploding.
Awesome. I believe you'll get there. So there are 2 questions that I ask every single guest, and now is the time when I'm going to ask you, Chase. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. The first question is, if you had access to unlimited capital, how would you profitably grow your current business?
I love that you said current business, because if I had unlimited capital, I'll do a couple other things.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. I would hire an appointment setter. A DM sales setter would be the first thing. And then a marketer, someone who is, essentially I would hire a world-class team to market and set appointments so that, and likely to close my sales too, because if I have unlimited capital, I could get somebody who's on brand. Mm-hmm. And I would have people signing people up, setting appointments and signing them up. And then I would get to deliver, because at the end of the day, I want to build this to prove I can do it. My passion lies in delivering the product.
So basically you'd put money into marketing and growing the awareness to your potential clients.
Yeah. The awareness and the task of being online and having conversations. Yeah.
Well, for whatever it's worth, I just want to shout out Cole Gordon has what I think to be the best program for that. They have a really good program that helps people to do setting, closing specifically for products, just like what you do. So when you're ready, talk to Cole. He's a gangster, man. Those guys do good.
Will do.
Cool. Second question is, if you had to stop all of the businesses, including real estate, all of the businesses that you've ever done before, and start something totally new, what do you think that might be?
That's a fantastic question. What a mind expander. Do something totally new and not real estate centered. It would likely be an Amazon FBA play. Find a product that is, and I would aim to do an acquisition, find something that is already profitable and has room to grow via affiliate marketing and just optimization of, again, marketing and pieces like that, and set it up and create something that can be 90% passive.
Well, if it makes you feel better, your answer is shared by Aaron Hind, who owns FitAid. So that was his answer as well.
Aaron's a gangster.
He is a gangster, I know. All right. Well, Chase, one more time for everybody, tell us where they can find you socially, what your website is, and exactly how somebody can get in touch with you. Because I don't know if you know this, but most of my audience is probably in your core demographic.
Love it. Yeah, guys. Instagram has the most action right now at Coach_Chase Tolleson. I'm keeping that name on there because that's what it's been. Growing the TikTok, if y'all want to jump in with the youngins on there. Primal Man Pathway with a period between each word. And then ChaseTolleson.com has the nitty gritty about the program.
Well, Chase, thank you so much for your time, brother. I appreciate you coming on. It was really good to get to know you a little bit too. I think what you're doing is amazing, and I wish you the best in business.
Jason, thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Awesome, brother. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening to the show. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to show us some love by liking, rating, and subscribing so we can keep making more and better content. If you'd like to support the show and get a great additional content like exclusive shows and even live group masterminds, please head over to patreon.com/Spear and Clover to become a member of the tribe. If you're interested in learning more about how we help entrepreneurs, visit spearandclover.com or message us on any of our platforms. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.